their numbers up, and they're on the Secretary of State's website. And that's what we're going to have tonight, is numbers are going to be up there posted quickly. Now, we won't know if we have someone to declare, depending on how close it is, but everyone had a great opportunity to vote. I know that we had a little bit of rain around Atlanta, but it didn't, deter anyone from coming out, to vote. So we're really excited, and we'll get those results posted. But Gabe, you want to fill in the blanks, because we've got some more good numbers.
Well, first, to put a bow on what the Secretary said, four locations will be open late. In fact, one of them is already closed, and that's in Gwinnett County. They closed at 7:08. Then the next one is Fulton County, which will close at 7:20. There was a school locking down because of police in the area with an issue. That's 20 minutes. They closed at 7:20. Then we have a Walker County precinct I told you all about before, the Chattanooga Valley precinct that'll be open until 7:30. And then one that kind of got past the goalie this morning, we thought we were clear, was in Henry County. Will be open until 7:45 p.m. Now, it only delayed opening till 7:16, but the judge decided to give them a little extra time as a just in case. You have seen some of the results already being posted to the Secretary of State's website. You can go to sos.ga.gov and click on the link for election results. Some of the large counties have worked with us cooperatively and loaded. One of the big tranches of votes you see on there is the Fulton County early votes have already been posted. And obviously that's going to give Senator Warnock a pretty big lead out of the gate. But we anticipate having a steady flow of data come in through the rest of the evening. I do not know to whom the day will go. It is the voters' vote. The counties will do their work. We will aggregate them and post them on our sites. People have asked us, when do you expect a winner? I don't know. We don't have a magic ball to look at and tell us those things. But what we do know, as the Secretary pointed out, is that it was a very successful day. This was the most in-person voting we've had since the launch of the new system. It looks like we probably beat the Election Day vote of November of 2022, which was the highest one. We know it was more than November of 2020, and it was more than the runoff of November of 2021. That's what it looks like today to us. So we had record turnout across the board. We had record turnout for a runoff and a midterm. We had record turnout of early voting. We had record use of absentee ballots. So the systems in place allow voters ease of use, their choice of 3 styles of voting, and essentially on Election Day, no lines other than a handful of them in Cherokee, because many of those voters chose not to use the pre-Election Day voting. So with that, any detailed questions we have on where we stand right now?
Can you talk a little bit more about that and put that in perspective for a runoff election to have what looks like a record turnout more than a presidential election? It's pretty incredible.
I think it's a testament to Secretary Raffensperger's leadership with the counties and making sure they were prepared, and the counties working with their voters so they could decide what was best for them. And the campaigns, and here's one thing, I'll put my old-fashioned political consultant hat on. A lot of people thought this election was sort of baked in the cake. Neither campaign stopped working, and no voters who cared about their voice being heard was deterred from voting. That is very different from what we saw in January 2021. People said, I don't care who wins or loses, I want my voice to be heard. And I think that is a bigger testament to the voters of Georgia and the county elections workers and all those essentially volunteers who put in tens of thousands of man-hours. And that really shows the dedication, and Secretary Raffensperger giving the counties what they need and the voters knowing what to do under the rules and laws of the state of Georgia.
Do you have an estimated number of what that is when you're talking about that number of Election Day voting?
It looks like we're looking at 1.4. We won't know for sure until everything comes in, but it looks like we're looking at 1.4, and we should be just a skosh, very technical, a skosh above what we had in the November of 2022 election. What else we got? Yes, ma'am.
Now you do keep pulling this off in a short time period. What is the cost financially and the human cost with poll workers working overtime? Have you put an estimate to it?
I haven't, and it's mainly put to a county level thing. For the state, we got a budget. We have the same people doing the same stuff. They might work some late hours lately. It has been a stress and a strain on both the elections workers at the county level and the poll workers. And now, unlike the old system, we had electronic voting with no paper. Every time a human being casts a ballot in a BMD ballot, it costs the county 14 cents. And when you have record turnout of early vote in person and then a record election day, as 14 cents to use that security paper that we have to use under the law. And I still think it's worth every penny of it, because the paper ballot is the security we need to know the outcomes of the elections are correct, and we can audit those results, we can recount those results, people can verify those results. And I still think, and the Secretary has said this, alluded to this earlier, there may need to be a discussion on what we do for runoffs and general elections in the future, because it is difficult, because in the old system of a 4-week runoff, we didn't have paper, we didn't have audits, and now we do. So it's a slightly different situation than we were dealing with the previous 50, 60 years with the 4-week runoffs that we had under Georgia law. What else? Yes.
Speaking of the poll workers, I know y'all were trying out a new text message if you do a threatening system. Have folks been using that? Has that been effective?
Secretary, you want to say, so far I don't think anybody has, but you want to talk about the reason you did that?
Well, there's just been an issue nationwide about making sure that your poll workers in the precinct stay safe. And, thankfully, I think Georgians have just really show you that they're good people. And, we didn't have the issues that they had in some of their states. But we wanted to make sure if something happened that you could report that to our state election director, to your county election director. And we just had maybe a few instances, but by and large, what we had a very smooth November election. We had a very smooth day today. Very little consternation from voters and the poll workers that are then working with these voters, because everyone knew that they had the opportunity to vote. I think what you really saw was voters were energized on both sides. This was a turnout race. 4 years ago, I was in a runoff. I know it's all about turnout. And obviously the campaigns got that out to their people. This is a turnout race. So it's not time to be screaming and hollering and being mad about life. Just get out and vote. And they got out and vote today. And so we're really excited about this strong turnout we had. I'm really grateful. So yes, we're grateful for the work that the county's done, but I am really grateful for the team we have here. Someone asked me earlier when I was interviewed, I believe that here in the state of Georgia, we have the best, and I'll put it up against anyone, state election department. It's just absolutely amazing. It starts at the top and it just kind of bubbles down. We have a really, really strong team and a lot of people that are excited about elections. And so I'm excited about elections, but what they're excited about is making sure that your vote counts, it counts accurately. And so I couldn't be more proud of our team and how they work so well with the counties, because this is a partnership, us working with the counties, because both of us understand who we really work for are the voters. We work for you. And today they've just come through. As Gabriel mentioned, 4 precincts out of 2,500 that had to stay up past 7 o'clock. And you think about it in years gone by. So we've really worked hard with the counties. The counties have worked hard on that also. And that's just a testament to us working together as a team. And I think Gabe talked about a little bit about the compressed schedule. And I think we'll be talking to the General Assembly on what can we do to further improve the process, because we understand it's easy to vote in Georgia. Look at our numbers. And we just want to make sure it's always just a pleasurable experience. No one likes waiting for anything. No one likes waiting for a Chick-fil-A sandwich on a Monday morning. No one likes lines. That's why lines had to be shorter than an hour, and they were. So we're just really happy for that. Do we have any other questions?
Is there any idea yet on the amount of provisional ballots still out there?
I don't think we have that yet. Nope. So, but as soon as we do, we'll get that to you. And we'll be back in a little bit.
Just keep an eye on the results. And again, one other little thing, as Secretary, I want to remind you called on the loser or the second place finisher. We have moved on to a new time again where you need to concede to protect the American democratic system. And for the winner, be magnanimous and realize you were elected not just to represent the people who voted for you, but to represent every single person, whether they voted for you or not. Doing that will help to rebuild the trust and the stability of our great democratic republic. Thanks, guys.